In today's recap, we're going to be reviewing the movie called The Prestige. The film opens with multiple top hats scattered throughout a forest with no explanation. Cutter explains the three parts of a magic trick: the pledge, the turn, and the prestige, while performing a disappearing bird trick for a young girl. Robert Angier, also known as the Great Danton, attempts a transporting trick that goes wrong, and he drowns, while Alfred Borden, also known as the Professor, watches from the audience. The film then follows three timelines simultaneously: the present day, where Borden is on trial for Angier's murder; the time leading up to Angier's death, from his point of view, documented in his diary, which Borden reads in prison; and the time during Borden and Angier's rivalry. Cutter reveals to the judge that the machine Angier used for his trick was not his, but was built by a wizard, and actually worked, as it appeared to. Borden faces execution after an unsuccessful trial, and is later approached by a solicitor for a collector, Lord Caldwell, who wants to buy his secrets, including the secret to Borden's famous transported man trick. The same collector has also purchased all of Angier's equipment and props. In his diary, Angier documents his journey to Colorado Springs, to see Nikola Tesla, the famous scientist, and his experimentation. However, he is told that the peak is closed for experimentation, leaving the audience wondering what exactly Tesla is experimenting on. On the following day, Angier is transported to a remote area in the woods by carriage, where he must walk to a fenced clearing. He attempts to enter, but is thrown back as the fence is electrified. Ali, Tesla's assistant, exits the gatehouse and initially mistakes Angier for an intruder. After recognizing him from a London show, Angier requests that Tesla build him a machine like the one that Borden uses for the transported man trick. Ali refuses, and Angier leaves disheartened. However, he correctly guesses that Ali is holding a gold watch behind his back before he departs. Angier deciphers a diary he stole from Borden, which uses a 5-letter word passcode to encrypt it. The diary reveals the backstory between Angier and Borden, who were once partners working for a magician named Milton. They performed an underwater escape act with Angier's wife, Julia. Borden ties Julia's wrists and ankles, but during a performance, Julia dies because she is unable to escape the knot tied by Borden. Angier confronts Borden at the funeral, initiating a bitter rivalry between them. Borden and Angier each pursue their own career paths, but tensions between them are evident. Borden weds Sarah and creates his own act, featuring a bullet-catching trick where he palms the bullet beforehand. However, the danger of the trick comes from audience members adding their own bullets or objects to the gun, leading to magicians' deaths. Angier attends one of Borden's shows in disguise, and purposely puts his own bullet in the gun, to confront Borden about the knot he tied. Borden is shot, causing him to lose 2 fingers and damage his career. Sarah becomes unhappy with Borden's secretive nature, and their marriage suffers as a result. Angier, accompanied by Cutter, starts his own act under the name The Great Danton with Olivia as his assistant. Cutter designs a new version of the disappearing bird in a cage trick, which involves mechanical gadgetry that Angier wears. Despite initially negative reactions from the audience, Angier modifies the trick and asks for 2 volunteers from the audience. One of the volunteers is a disguised Borden who sabotages the trick, resulting in the bird's death and ruining Angier's reputation. Cutter advises Angier to attend a science lecture for new ideas, where he encounters Nikola Tesla's demonstration of Tesla coils. Angier learns about Borden's personal life, causing him to become increasingly obsessed with their rivalry. The narrative follows 2 storylines. In one, Angier attempts to commission his own transporter machine from Tesla, who has been supplied with electrical service by Colorado Springs, in exchange for using generators at night to conduct experiments. Tesla warns that building the machine will require a significant amount of time and money. In the other storyline, both magicians start performing again. Borden has a new trick called the Transported Man, which involves him getting into a cabinet on stage right, and getting out of another cabinet on stage left. Angier and Olivia watch it repeatedly but cannot figure out how he does it. Angier and Cutter copy the trick and add some flair to it, hiring an actor named Gerald Root to be Angier's double. Their act, The New Transported Man, becomes a success, but Angier misses out on the audience reaction since he has to sell the build-up of the trick under the stage. Angier decides to send Olivia to work for Borden and spy on him to figure out his version of the trick. Meanwhile, Root becomes a problem and demands money. Borden's version of the trick has improved, and Cutter gets Angier to agree to phase out their version. One night, Root disappears, and Angier breaks his leg when the cushion to break his fall has been removed. Angier confronts Olivia, who insists that Borden's trick is accomplished using a double. Angier and Cutter kidnap Fallon, Borden's engineer, and nail him in a box to hold for ransom. Borden agrees to exchange the secret of his trick for Fallon's release, and writes down the word Tesla to decode his diary. Angier goes to America to track down Tesla while Cutter stays behind. Borden's private life is falling apart due to an affair with Olivia, while his wife is drinking because of their deteriorating marriage. One time, he asks Fallon to deal with his family while going to see Olivia. However, he cares about both women. After trying to confront her husband about one of his secrets, Sarah eventually hangs herself in Borden's workroom. In Colorado, Tesla and Allie have been unsuccessfully testing the machine they built for Angier, zapping his top hat, time after time, with an impressive electrical apparatus, but the hat won't move an inch. Upon reading Borden's diary, Angier realizes that Olivia actually betrayed him, and she gave Angier the diary to prove her loyalty to Borden. Angier leaves the lab in disgust after testing the machine with the black cat. However, later he finds out that the machine creates a duplicate at the destination, not moving the object from one place to the other. Tesla and Allie continue to refine the machine, but their lab is burned down by Edison's goons, so they leave a large trapezoidal wooden box for Angier, containing the components of the machine with instructions in a note. Angier takes the box back to England and reunites with Cutter, becoming extremely secretive about his methods. Borden is mystified, and all he can tell is that Angier's trick involves a trapdoor. Borden sneaks under the stage and watches Angier fall through the trapdoor into the tank and drown. In his prison cell back in the present day, Borden comes to the end of Angier's diary, which gloats that Borden is being blamed for his death. Borden believes the diary must be a fake until he's called out of his cell to say goodbye to Jess and meet the collector who wants to buy his secrets. The collector, Lord Caldlow, is Angier. Borden is dismayed that he would involve his child in their rivalry. Caldlow/Angier refuses to help clear his name, and won't even take the secret of Borden's transported man when bribed, telling him, "Mine is better." Cutter discovers Angier alive when he calls on Lord Caldlow to offer him the machine, hoping to convince him to destroy it. Fallon arrives to confront Angier, while scenes of Borden being hanged are intercut with it. Angier eventually comes to the realization that the key to Borden's transported man trick was not as complicated as he had originally thought. In fact, Borden had a twin brother, and they had been switching between the roles of Borden and Fallon to create the illusion. One of them had loved Sarah, while the other loved Olivia, and they had kept their secret hidden from everyone. The twin who had not been mutilated had willingly allowed his brother to amputate 2 of his fingers so that the swapping could be done flawlessly. Sarah had noticed the wound and questioned Borden, but he had quickly deflected the conversation. Angier, however, had taken things much further in his pursuit of the perfect illusion. He had been using Tesla's machine to create a double of himself every time he performed his new transported man trick, and the trapdoor was rigged to drown one of the Angiers. He had never known which one he would be, the man in the box or the one receiving the applause. The room where the machine was kept was filled with tanks of water, each holding a drowned double of Angier. He repeatedly muttered to himself that no one cares about the man in the box. Angier eventually falls and knocks over a lantern, causing a fire that destroys the machine and all evidence of his crimes. The story comes full circle with a trick involving small birds from the beginning, and Cutter reiterates the 3 parts of a magic trick. Before the audience can applaud, the vanished man must return, and on cue, Jess Borden's father appears, and she runs into his arms. Borden and Cutter exchange nods, satisfied with the success of their final trick. And that's all for this recap. See you in the next one.